There are moments in life when silence feels heavier than words, and loneliness feels deeper than the night. You have smiled for others, you have carried responsibilities, and you have walked through storms without letting anyone see how broken you felt inside. To the world you may look strong, but inside there are wounds you never had the chance to share. Pain has a way of hiding itself in the heart. Sometimes it disguises itself as strength. Sometimes it takes the form of silence. And sometimes it simply waits, longing for a place to be released. You have carried that pain quietly, perhaps for years. No one else fully understands it, and often you tell yourself, "This is mine to bear alone." But hear this gentle truth: you are not alone. The one who formed you, who knows the depth of your soul, has never left you. Even in the nights when you felt unseen, even in the days when your prayers felt unanswered, God was closer than your own breath. He whispers today, "My child, I see the pain you carry. I know the weight you try so hard to hide, and I am here, healing you." God does not overlook your tears. Not a single sigh escapes His notice. Every hidden hurt, every silent struggle, every unspoken disappointment has been seen by Him. He is not angry at your weakness. He does not shame you for your brokenness. Instead, He draws near, reaching out with hands of love and healing. Sometimes we imagine that healing must be dramatic, a sudden miracle that changes everything overnight. But God's healing is often like the dawn. The night may linger, but slowly, gently, light begins to rise. It starts with a whisper of peace in your heart, then a strength you cannot explain. Then one day, you realize the burden is lighter, the wound is softer, and the pain is no longer defining who you are. This is the promise of God. He is healing the pain you carry alone. You were never meant to bear it by yourself. You were never abandoned, even when you felt invisible. And now, in this very moment, He is working in ways you cannot yet see, restoring, renewing, and giving you hope again. So, breathe. Let go of the fear that you are unseen. Allow your heart to believe that the one who made you has not forgotten you. The story is not over. Healing is coming, and you are loved more deeply than you can ever imagine. Perhaps you have carried this pain for so long that it has become part of your identity. You wake up with it, you go to sleep with it, and you wonder if life will always feel this heavy. Sometimes you have smiled in public but cried in secret. Sometimes you have laughed with others, only to return home to silence that feels unbearable. And deep within you whisper, "No one really knows what I'm going through." But God knows. He has seen the nights you stayed awake with thoughts too heavy for words. He has seen the days when you forced yourself to be strong while your heart was breaking. And He has not judged you for your struggle. He has loved you in it. The truth is, many people can surround you, yet you may still feel alone in your pain. Friends can encourage you, family can care for you, but there are parts of your heart that only God can reach. He is not distant. He is not silent. He is not indifferent to your suffering. He is present, closer than you think, working quietly, healing slowly like a gentle hand soothing a wound. When God says, "I am healing the pain you carry alone," He is not just speaking of physical healing. He is speaking of the hidden pain, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the betrayals, the dreams that seemed lost, the emptiness that lingers even when life looks fine on the outside. He is healing the tears you never cried in public, the questions you never dared to ask, and the loneliness that sits deep within your soul. Healing begins not when everything changes around you, but when peace begins to grow within you. God is planting seeds of peace in your heart right now. Though you may not see the full bloom yet, trust that it is growing. The pain you carry does not define you, and it will not last forever. God's love is greater than the weight you carry. His mercy is deeper than the wounds you hide. And His promise is this: you are never truly alone, for I am with you, and I am making all things new. Maybe you have asked yourself, why me? Why do I have to carry this pain? Why does it feel like no one can understand? These questions are not signs of weakness. They are signs of a heart longing for meaning, for comfort, for a touch of hope. And God has heard every one of them. God does not condemn you for asking questions. He is not distant from your doubts, nor is He offended by your tears. Instead, He bends low, listens, and whispers, I am with you in this. I am not ashamed of your pain. I am not walking away from your struggles. I am here to hold you, to heal you, and to lift the weight you thought you had to bear alone. The truth is, healing is not only about removing pain. It is about restoring the parts of you that pain has stolen. Your joy, your peace, your hope, your ability to trust again. God wants to remind you that your story is not defined by what hurt you, but by the love that now surrounds you. You are not the sum of your wounds. You are the child of a Father who will never abandon you. Right now, as you listen, allow yourself to breathe deeply. Imagine laying down the burden you have carried for so long at His feet. Imagine His hands, gentle and strong, lifting it from you. You do not have to figure everything out. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to hide anymore. God sees you exactly as you are and still says, you are loved, you are safe, and you are being healed. The opening of your healing journey begins here, not with answers to every question, not with solutions to every problem, but with the assurance that you are not walking alone anymore. The God who calls you His beloved is already walking beside you. He is restoring the broken places, even now, even in this moment. So let this truth settle into your heart. The pain you carry alone is already in the hands of the one who can turn it into peace. The night will not last forever. The dawn is coming. And step by step, God is healing you. Pain comes in many forms, and it often enters our lives quietly, without permission. Sometimes it is physical, born from sickness or weakness in the body. Sometimes it is emotional, the lingering ache of broken relationships, betrayal, rejection, or loss. And sometimes it is spiritual, the silent weight of unanswered prayers, doubts about our worth, or the feeling that God is far away. Each of us carries pain in different ways. For some, it looks like a scar that has never fully healed. For others, it is an invisible wound, hidden from the eyes of the world but heavy on the heart. And for many, pain becomes a constant companion, shaping the way we think, act, and even the way we see ourselves. One of the most difficult kinds of pain is the one carried in silence. You smile, but inside you ache. You show strength, but inside you feel weak. You go about your day as though everything is fine, but the weight within you never truly lifts. This silent suffering can be heavier than any visible wound because it is often carried alone. Why do we carry pain in silence? Sometimes because we fear others will not understand. Sometimes because we have been told to stay strong or move on. Sometimes because our culture teaches us to hide weakness and present only strength. But the truth is, silence does not heal wounds. It only buries them deeper. And what is buried alive in the heart continues to grow, shaping us in ways we may not even realize. This is why God speaks so gently, yet so powerfully. I see the pain you carry alone. He is not blind to what you hide. He does not overlook the battles you fight when no one else is watching. And he does not ask you to pretend that everything is fine. Instead, he invites you to bring your pain into the light of his presence, because only in his presence can healing begin. God understands pain more than we often realize. He understands betrayal because he was betrayed. He understands rejection because he was rejected. He understands grief because he wept. He understands loneliness because he was left alone. When you bring your pain to him, you are not coming to someone who cannot relate. You are coming to one who has walked through it himself and has overcome it. The first step toward healing is acknowledgement. To whisper in prayer, God, this hurts. I cannot carry it alone anymore. This is not weakness, it is courage. It is the moment when your pain no longer defines you, but becomes the place where God begins his work. You may not see change immediately. Healing is often a process, not a single moment. Just as wounds in the body take time to close and scars to fade, wounds of the heart also require patience. But every time you choose to bring your pain to God instead of hiding it, you allow him to work within you. Slowly the weight lifts. Slowly, hope returns. Slowly, peace begins to take root. And as you take each step, remember this truth. You were never meant to carry your pain alone. God's love is not just a promise for eternity. It is a present help in your suffering. He walks with you in the valley. He sits with you in the silence, and he holds you when you feel too weak to stand. Healing does not always come the way we expect. Sometimes we imagine it will happen in an instant, a miracle that removes the pain completely. And while God is capable of such miracles, his healing often comes through a deeper process, the renewing of the heart, the strengthening of the spirit, and the restoration of hope. One of the most powerful ways God heals is through his presence. There are moments when words cannot fix the brokenness we feel, when advice cannot touch the wound, when no human comfort is enough. But the presence of God is different. It is not simply the absence of pain. It is the assurance that you are not alone in it. His presence is like light in the darkness, warmth in the cold, quiet whisper in the storm that says, "Peace, be still." When you sit in silence and open your heart to him, you may begin to sense this presence. It may feel like an unexpected calm washing over your spirit. It may feel like the strength to face one more day, even when yesterday nearly broke you. It may feel like the courage to keep breathing when the weight of sorrow presses heavy. This is not your strength alone. It is the healing touch of God within you. God also heals through his promises. Throughout Scripture, he reminds us that he is near to the brokenhearted, that he will never leave us or forsake us, that he gives rest to the weary, and that his love never fails. These are not empty words. They are living truths meant to anchor you when everything else feels unstable. When pain tempts you to believe you are forgotten, His promises remind you, you are seen, you are loved, you are not abandoned. Sometimes healing comes through people He sends into your life. A friend who listens without judgment. A stranger who shows unexpected kindness. A family member who forgives after years of silence. These moments are not coincidences. They are evidence of God's healing hand at work. He often chooses to work through relationships, reminding us that we are not created to walk alone. At other times, healing comes through the slow transformation of your inner self. You notice that the bitterness once controlling your heart is softening. The fear that once paralyzed you is loosening. The grief that once consumed every thought is gradually making room for gratitude and joy. These changes are signs that God is working, even when you cannot see Him clearly. Healing also involves learning to trust again. Pain often leaves us guarded, afraid to open up, afraid to be vulnerable. But God gently teaches us that trust is not weakness. It is the soil where healing grows. Trusting Him means laying down your control, choosing to believe that even when you do not understand, He is working for your good. And as your trust deepens, peace begins to flow where anxiety once ruled. Perhaps the most beautiful part of God's healing is this: He does not waste your pain. The wounds you carry can become the very places where His love shines brightest. The struggles you thought would break you can become testimonies that strengthen others. The tears you cried in the dark can water seeds of compassion, making you a source of comfort for someone else who suffers. God never delights in your suffering, but He can redeem it, transforming what was once your deepest sorrow into your greatest strength. So if you are waiting for healing, do not despise the process. Do not believe the lie that nothing is happening. Even when you cannot see it, God is working. He is rewriting your story, weaving your brokenness into something beautiful. And one day you will look back and realize that the pain you thought would define you forever was actually the very place God revealed His greatest love. Healing is not just about what God does in a moment. It is also about how we choose to walk forward in the days that follow. Once the deep work of restoration begins, the question becomes, how do we live in this new reality? How do we protect the peace we have received? How do we nurture faith so that it grows stronger? And how do we carry hope into every season of life? The first step is to remain connected to God daily. Healing is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing relationship. Just as a plant needs water and sunlight to continue growing, our spirit needs constant nourishment from the presence of God. This means creating space for prayer, reflection, and listening. It does not have to be elaborate or long. Sometimes it is simply pausing in the middle of your day to say, God, I need you here with me. The more you stay connected, the stronger your heart becomes, and the more resilient you grow in the face of pain. The second step is to guard your peace. After walking through pain, your heart becomes tender. It is easy for fear, worry, or negative voices to creep back in. This is why Scripture encourages us to guard our hearts, because everything flows from it. Guarding peace means being mindful of what you allow to influence your mind, what you watch, what you listen to, and who you surround yourself with. Choose voices that lift you up, music that calms your soul, and people who remind you of God's goodness. Peace is fragile, but when protected, it becomes a powerful shield. The third step is to nurture faith like a seed. Faith does not grow in comfort. It grows in the soil of uncertainty and dependence. Each time you choose to trust God in the unknown, your faith stretches and strengthens. Speak His promises over your life. Remind yourself that what He started, He will finish. And when doubt whispers, return to the truth that He has never failed you before, and He will not fail you now. Another vital part of walking in healing is to embrace community. We are not meant to walk alone. Healing becomes deeper when shared with others who understand, who can encourage, pray with you, and remind you of hope when you forget. This may be a close friend, a faith group, or simply someone who has walked a similar path. Community does not remove pain, but it makes the load lighter, and it creates space for love to flow. Healing also calls us to practice gratitude daily. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is broken to what is being restored, from what is missing to what is already present. Even in seasons of pain, there are glimpses of beauty, moments of laughter, small victories, or simple blessings like breath in your lungs and sunrise in the sky. Gratitude does not deny pain. It simply refuses to let pain be the only voice you hear. And as you practice gratitude, you begin to see more clearly how God is weaving goodness into your story. Lastly, walking in healing means choosing hope every day. Hope is not naive optimism. It is the deep assurance that no matter how dark the night, the morning will come. Hope anchors us in God's promises, reminding us that the story is not over yet. Some days hope will feel strong and unshakable. Other days it may feel small and fragile. But even a small flame of hope can light the darkness. When you choose to hold on to hope, you are declaring that your pain does not have the final word. God does. As you continue in this journey, you may notice that the pain that once ruled your life no longer controls you. The wounds that once defined you have now become part of your testimony. You begin to live not as a victim of pain, but as a witness of healing. You carry peace where there used to be fear, joy where there used to be sorrow, and strength where there used to be weakness. And this transformation is not only for you, it is also for those around you. Your healing becomes a light to others who are still in the dark. Your story becomes an encouragement to those who wonder if they can make it through. The comfort you have received becomes the comfort you are able to give. In this way, healing is multiplied. It ripples outward, touching lives far beyond your own. So, step forward gently, but boldly. Continue to walk with God. Guard your peace. Nurture your faith. Embrace community. Practice gratitude. And hold on to hope. These are not just practices for survival. They are rhythms for a life fully alive. And in every step, remember the voice of God whispering, "I am healing the pain you carry alone." As we come to the close of this journey together, pause for a moment and reflect on how far you have come, even within the time of listening to these words. Perhaps at the beginning, your heart felt heavy, burdened by memories, by silent struggles, by pain you thought no one could understand. But now, something within you feels lighter, softer, maybe even a little freer. That is not an accident. That is the gentle work of God moving inside you, reminding you that you do not walk alone. Healing is not always a dramatic event. More often, It is a quiet process that unfolds in layers. It happens in the stillness of prayer, in the tears you finally allow yourself to shed, in the moments you realize you are no longer carrying the weight alone. And sometimes, healing is simply the courage to believe that tomorrow can be different from yesterday. God has been whispering to you all along. I see you. I know your pain. I am not leaving you. I am healing the pain you carry alone. These words are not just promises for someone else. They are for you. They are your anchor, your reminder that no matter how broken you feel, you are still deeply loved, profoundly seen, and tenderly held. The conclusion of this message is not the end of your healing. It is the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where you walk forward, not defined by the wounds of your past, but by the grace that now covers you. You may still have scars, but scars are not signs of defeat. They are signs of survival, reminders that pain did not win. So what do you do next? You breathe. You take one step at a time. You choose to lean into God's presence each day. When fear tries to return, you speak hope over your life. When lies try to tell you that you are alone, you remind yourself, God is with me, and He is healing me. When the weight feels too heavy again, you lay it down once more at His feet, trusting that His hands are strong enough to hold what yours cannot. And beyond your personal journey, your healing becomes a gift to others. You now carry empathy for those who suffer, compassion for those who weep, and strength for those who feel weak. The comfort God has given you is not meant to stay hidden. It is meant to flow through you, touching lives you may never even realize. Your healing is part of something bigger, something eternal. As you step out from here, remember this. You are not walking back into life as the same person you were before. You are walking forward as someone renewed. You are carrying a hope that cannot be shaken, a peace that cannot be stolen, and a love that cannot be broken. Yes, there may still be challenges ahead. Life will not always be easy. But now you know the truth. You are not alone in any of it. The same God who healed you yesterday is the God who will sustain you tomorrow. The one who promised to never leave you will keep that promise day after day until the very end. So let your heart rest tonight. Let your soul breathe deeply. You are safe, you are loved, and you are being healed. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of something beautiful. God is not finished with you yet. Step forward with courage. Step forward with faith. Step forward with hope. And always remember His words echoing over your life. I am healing the pain you carry alone.